Yo, what is up, guys? XRP's at $1.08 right now in CoinMarketCap. Our first tweet comes from Ripple City. Just in, Wall Street doubles down on XRP. Our next tweet comes from Bitcoin Magazine. Just in, CNBC reports on Clarity Act progress. Senator Mark Warner supports the goals of the broader bill. Senator Bernie Moreno was quoted, "It would prevent any elected official from issuing or promoting a digital asset. Negotiations continue." Let's watch this video.
Hey, Carl. Well, yeah, look, Senate leadership, they really want to have a vote on this rules of the road crypto bill in the next few weeks before they break for their August recess. Big question right now, whether they're going to be able to get enough Democratic support to pass. And that is increasingly hinging on whether the bill is going to put in place some strict limits on the president's ability to profit from crypto. Now, Democrats, they've been pushing for this ethics language for months, but it's become even more pressing just in the last few weeks when President Trump's financial disclosures showed him making roughly $1.2 billion from crypto-related ventures alone during his first year in office. I spoke yesterday with Senator Mark Warner. He supports the goals of the broader bill, but he said that it is critical for lawmakers to limit the ability for elected officials, including the president, to profit from crypto.
The president has made billions in his family off of this. We're going to suddenly go forward and say, and elected officials can take advantage of that situation going forward. I think that would be pretty outrageous.
Senator Bernie Moreno, who met with Trump yesterday on the bill, said it would prevent any elected official, including the president, from issuing or promoting a digital asset, although it would not apply that restriction to other members of the family, including, of course, Trump's family. The lawmakers are still negotiating over the language of the bill. An updated draft was expected this week, but has yet to be made public. And of course, guys, as we know, the devil's always in the details. So we're keeping a close eye out for that to see how Democrats and industry respond and exactly what kind of vote we might expect later this month or in early August.
Smash that subscribe button and hit that like button if you believe XRP will reach $3 again this year. Our next tweet comes from the Crypto Squire. It's official. Ripple is now listed as an authorized crypto asset service provider, CASP, in ESMA's MICA register. Ripple can now passport its regulated crypto services across the European Economic Area, another major milestone for Ripple. Our next tweet comes from Zave Crypto. The path for the Clarity Act just got a lot clearer. Kristen Smith says the holdup isn't crypto, it's ethics language needed to win Democratic support. Trump is reportedly negotiating a compromise with Democrats. If a deal is reached, the Senate could vote as early as next week. Let's watch this video.
Thank you so much for being here. What are your thoughts on clarity and the ethics conversation underway right now?
Well, good morning, Maria, and thank you for having me back. I agree with Faryar. The ethics conversation is absolutely essential. This is one of those tricky issues where it's really not the crypto industry's place to decide what that deal is. But I've met with members of Congress, senators on both sides of the aisle, and especially for Democrats, they need to have some sort of ethics language in this bill in order to be able to vote for it. So I give credit to President Trump for entertaining this concept. I know he had a meeting at the White House yesterday to discuss what this provision could look like. And I think, this is a president who knows the art of the deal. If we can get the president and the Democrats to agree on this issue, I think that will break the logjam, and we will be able to get the votes needed to get this bill through the Senate sometime next week or the following.
Our next tweet comes from the Crypto Square. Clarity is the goal line. Representative William Timmons says the Clarity Act is essential to keeping the U.S. at the center of the global economy. We're on the 1-yard line. We just have to score the touchdown. Our next tweet comes from Crypto Barbie. Big breaking. Republican Brian Steele announces, "I'm optimistic that we get the Clarity Act, across the line next week. It's absolutely essential that the United States sets the gold standard for regulations in the digital asset space." Let's watch this video.
All right, let me ask you about Senate Republicans meeting with President Trump yesterday, hoping to get his stamp of approval on the updated language for the Clarity Act. The House sent it to the Senate a year ago, and Senator Cynthia Lummis was with me here earlier in the week, and she said that this bill will likely be brought to the floor in the next week, Congressman. A lot of people writing on this and business writing on this. You and other members of the Financial Services Committee are in New York to hold a field hearing on this bill. What can you tell us about the Clarity Act?
This is our opportunity to put real and substantive legislation on the floor and provide regulatory clarity in the digital assets space. Again, this is an example of the House doing its job. We passed this now approximately a year ago. The Senate has been struggling to move this forward. I'm optimistic that we get this across the line next week in the United States Senate. It's absolutely essential that the United States sets the gold standard for regulations in the digital asset space, that we unlock so much capital, human capital and financial capital that will come into these markets in the United States of America in a regulatory regime that protects consumers. Clarity does that. It's passed the House. It's time for the Senate to act.
Well, I mean, the Senate is wrangling with Democrats over the language on ethics, Congressman. You know that.
Well, individuals that are concerned about the broader ethics reforms, and I think that there is a need to look at this, actually should be supportive of the bill. If an individual is concerned about how meme coins were treated under President Biden's appointment of Gary Gensler, all the more reason to move forward clarity, to put a regulatory structure in place to make sure that we're regulating good and bad actors. The good actors in the space want the bad actors to be regulated. We all want the bad actors out. The Clarity Act provides a regulatory environment to be able to do just that. And so the individuals that grandstand on the ethics side should be more supportive than anyone else about moving clarity across the line.
Our next tweet comes from the Crypto Squire, 250 years of innovation. Brian Steele says it's time to pass the Clarity Act and unlock the next 250 years of American innovation. Clear rules could open the door to a new era for digital assets and the US economy. The future is built on clarity. Our next tweet comes from Smoke DQG. Swift representatives previously confirmed their partnership with R3 and the utilization of the Corda settler which supports XRP. Watch. Let's watch this video.
My last question is really about emerging technologies, such as APIs and distributed ledger technology. How is that making an impact on cross-border payments?
Well, APIs are a great technology that allow corporates to unlock value. And with GPI, we built in APIs deliberately from the outset, so that banks can indeed integrate that tracking information into their portals, and their clients can benefit directly from this visibility thanks to APIs. We're also using APIs to further integrate the GPI experience into DLT, distributed ledger-based ecosystems, or other ecosystems that want to benefit from the global settlement capability that GPI banks provide. In that context, we recently partnered with R3, the blockchain infrastructure software provider, so that their Corda settler can support Swift GPI for this purpose. But actually, it's not so much about technology. Technology is more a means to an end. With Swift GPI, it's more about providing the ability to provide an enhanced experience, to reduce the friction of these payments, to increase their speed. That is actually what Swift GPI delivers.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Wim.
Our next tweet comes from Zave Crypto. It's time to pass clarity. Representative Brian Steele just said the quiet part out loud. 7 years in the making, crypto's regulatory framework is here. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Let's watch this video.
Since 2017, the House Committee on Financial Services, alongside our colleagues at the Committee on Agriculture, have worked to craft a durable framework for digital assets that fosters innovation while protecting consumers and investors. Our goal is clear: replace regulation by enforcement with clear rules of the road for digital assets. For 250 years, America has led the world in financial innovation. For 15 years, blockchain technology has redefined what's possible. For 10 years, Congress has worked to write the rules of this new financial frontier. And for 1 year, we've had a statutory framework for payment stablecoins. Now, it's our turn to meet the moment. Today, we'll hear from experts who are building the next generation of financial innovation, and we'll hear from them on why they believe the Clarity Act is essential. I think it's our opportunity to unlock the next 250 years of innovation here in the United States of America. It's time to pass clarity.
Our next tweet comes from Riz XRP. Past the Clarity Act, XRP has work to do. Our next tweet comes from Bank XRP. Having stablecoins without a crypto market structure framework is like having a cell phone with no cell network. There's no ecosystem to support it. Watt Chairman Representative French Hill outlined the urgency of passing the Clarity Act to establish a complete digital asset framework. Let's watch this video.
Well, Maria, we're here at Federal Hall. We're here at Federal Hall in New York today to hold a field hearing to commemorate that 1-year anniversary of passing Clarity with 78 Democratic votes last summer. I want to commend Senator Lamas Senator Scott and many others on both sides of the aisle that have been trying to get clarity through the Senate. I think we're on the cusp of doing that. This is, as Cynthia said, a key time. I'm so pleased John Thune, the leader in the Senate, has set a date to bring this bill to the floor. We've done 4 years of work on this under the leadership of former Chairman Patrick McHenry. Brian Stile, who you just had on, has done a marvelous job this Congress, and it's time to close the deal. We need to get clarity in place because of a key point I always make. If you have Genius and dollar-backed stable coins, which we have, signed into law by President Trump last July, but you do not have a market framework, market structure bill, then you have like passed the authorization to have a cell phone, but no cell network. There's no ecosystem to support the use of that cell phone. So that's what I think that is so critical, that we get the companion legislation, framework legislation completed to be married then to the implementation of Genius for dollar-backed stablecoins.
Real quick, if this helped, press the like button. It tells YouTube to show this to people who want the truth, not hype. And press the subscribe button if you're done being sold the moon. I've already got your next one right here. Go!